why not sit back, relax, and take things easy like a Sunday morn? I'm your host, Shane Lockwood, and today is the 24th of July 2016, and this is episode 58. Welcome aboard to those who are listening to this for the very first time, and welcome back to those who are regulars of the show. There's a lot to cover. However, there's stuff like there's Brexit. UK decided to leave the European Union. The Australian federal election we had, and the government basically stayed in power. The Liberal Conservative government stayed in power. There was the Orlando shooting. A closeted gay Muslim walked into a nightclub that he frequented a lot and basically, with an AR-15, mowed down a whole heap of gay people. And for those of you saying, oh, if only there was a good guy with a gun, the whole thing wouldn't have happened. There was a good guy with a gun. There was a police officer who managed to get several shots off at that guy and missed him and didn't stop the killing spree. But that's not what we want to talk about here. This podcast is about sitting back, relaxing, and letting go of all those dramas. You personally cannot have any real influence over a lot of those things. You should have voted in the election, the Australian federal election, if you could have. And for those of you who decided to vote independent, shame on you. We could have actually ousted the worst government Australia's ever had. Once you've got Labor in power, you can do a whole lot of stuff with the independents, but that's what happens when you don't vote strategically. A lot of people cling to parties, whereas I don't. I will vote strategically. But it doesn't matter. We had Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. And your stance on either one of those depends on whether your preference is for the movies Boys in the Hood or for Dirty Harry, strangely enough. Pokemon Go became all popular and took over the world, meaning that shares in Nintendo are worth more than shares in Sony. How insane is that? Jon Stewart came back to the Daily Show to talk about Trump winning the Republican nomination, and wow, you've still got until November. Americans like to campaign politically for a long time. A long time. The vote won't end until November. So hopefully, even though a lot of these people have gotten behind certain politicians, whether you like them or hate them, doesn't matter. Hopefully you'll be able to at least vote for a few independents if you don't prefer those two major candidates. This show is only 15 minutes long because Spreaker, in their infinite wisdom, has decided to cut funding, or rather not cut funding, cut the free storage space in order to raise revenue. So instead of having 10 free hours or 30-minute episodes, it's cut down to 5 hours, and that means it's 10 30-minute episodes. So I've had to delete older episodes, and I apologise for those who have a particular favourite old episode of mine. They've had to go. The other thing is that through their apps, the podcasts are reduced down to 15 minutes maximum recording time. I personally have had to... This is the only method I can use to record a podcast. My really, really old computer... I had got a really old computer to replace the one that died 6 months ago. But the really old computer that I have will not detect my headset that was that I had to buy with money that was raised through people donating things to the podcast through PayPal and Patreon. And it won't detect the headset. And you think, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Right, so, and if it did, it would pick up a whole heap of electronic interference, and that results in buzzing down the microphone. You know, if you ever go to a concert or a pub and you hear that little bit of feedback, or like, ee, or the audio quality is not the best, it's because it's because of electronic interference most of the time. It's usually because the microphone's too close to the speakers, or there's other things happening. Also, there's damage done to my phone. It's not holding a charge, so I've basically had to record this without it plugged in. It still loses its charge while it's plugged in. I have to get it fixed. It's currently down to 3% power currently. So it's lost like 3% in the last 7 minutes or so. So this is not even going to go for the full... This is not going to go for the full 15 minutes, I don't think. But I do wanted to update you on stuff like that. With my 50 weeks to a new you, or whatever I was calling it, there are now 39 weeks left to go. Hopefully you've been making small improvements to your life. What I've done is I managed to get up to 10 kilograms that I'm lifting now, weightlifting, which is amazing. And actually it's closer to 11 kilos. But I've also lost a grand total of 16 kilos. And I'm down to 104 kilos, down from 120. Now 104 kilos, I'm 5'10", so that's not, or 5'11", 5'10", so that's not light, that's not skinny at all, but I weigh a lot less than what I did before, and I weighed a lot less than I did when I was a vegetarian. So isn't that funny? But I do a lot more walking. The longest distance I've ever done is 23 kilometers in one go. And I do at least 4 kilometers walking a day. I'm getting all sorts of messages, that's why you're hearing beeping noises and stuff. Hopefully the noise cancelling thing is actually cutting out a lot of this stuff. The show is made possible through donations to Patreon, www.patreon.com/ELASM, and for $5 you can dictate the subject matter of the show. How awesome is that? That's only for $5. But you don't need to donate that much. A dollar will helps support the show, helps me get myself back in business. I'm down to 1% power. What I'm going to do is stop the show here and wish you a fantastic week. I'm down to 1% power. This phone is ridiculously crap, but I'm going to have a whole heap of really cool stuff next time. I've just got to find a way to record a longer podcast, and I will hopefully be able to edit the podcast to perfection if I can grab myself another laptop. I'm dealing with computer experts at the moment, trying to sort something out, but I've got bills to pay. It's going to take a couple of weeks. So do have a great day. Do have a fantastic week. Please find this time to relax. I apologise that it's only a smaller episode. I'm trying to record this before my phone actually dies, or the battery dies. I will see you again next week. May today and the rest of the week be easy like a Sunday morn. Bye for now.